Hello YouTube, how are you? Long time no see, you good? So yes, if you're new here, my name's Alexander and this is our Green Agenda, and today we're standing at the top of the Croft. We're right at the top of the Croft, ready to go. So if you want to see a quick tour of this area down here, it's a nice little tour. It was filmed in April, funny enough. A few things have changed. If you're a regular here, you might have seen that there's more pallets down here. Just you wait, I'm biding my time. It's not finished yet, so I'm waiting. And that's what I found. That's the reason why there's a lack of video since the last videos, because I felt like I was talking about a lot of things but not doing, if you know what I mean. I'm sure other YouTubers can understand. And please excuse the wind. And the reason why it's windy is because this is the windiest permaculture project on YouTube. It says that on the thumbnail. I say it's a fact. If you can prove me wrong, then I'll happily kind of bow down to that windiest place. But this place is proper windy. So we're at the top of the Croft, and let's talk about what I'm gonna do up here. But firstly, let's talk about this, because this is pretty new. And I did film this the other day, but it was so windy, it sounded awful. Like, I don't mind wind on the mic, but it was just like, if you see here. So right now I'm standing on the top half of the Croft, so I'm shouting because I can hardly hear myself think. But we're standing at the top half of the Croft right now, and if you want to see the old, the tour of the bottom half, save it, click at the top right of the screen. It's a nice little vlog talking about what's happening down here. It's funny, it was filmed in April. So anyways, let's kind of divulge and let's talk about all my plans and my like crazy ideas, but they're definitely doable. Let's talk about the plans for the top of the Croft. So there's been a few more earthworks, not by me, by the guy who uses this. Honestly, he's amazing at it. So what he's done is he's chiseled away, let me just stand to my back against the wind. He's chiseled away this bit of driveway just to make it a bit more slanted. So before there was kind of like a ditch. You'll see on the drone shot there used to be a ditch just going across. So when it rained, it used to just kind of just trickle down and end up down here and then come out down this section here. But now we've asked for a shed. I thought we were going to put the shed there, right, just on this bit, that kind of hard stone in there, that moraine. But you can't have it too close to this, apparently, the electrical line. And pardon me, it's right next to our it's right next to the roadside. So when you pull out, you drive down, you have to look left and look right. Obviously we'll be able to see right easily, but it's just the left, it might be less visible. But obviously we're going to be able to see all the way down the hill, but you never know what can come up in those times. But health and safety. And if you look over there, you see that duck? She's a broody duck, and I can tell because she's a full black one. So she's going back to her nest right now. She's sitting on about 20 plus eggs. She's a good mum. So she's heading back now. Yeah, they have like a couple of breaks, but we'll talk about ducks another day. Stay tuned to that if you want to find out about Muscovies and how broody they are and what eggs we got. And I thought I lost another duck, but I'm moving on. I'm getting distracted by ducks. So he's excavating here, making a nice patch. Also, I found out the other day, let's abseil. If I drop, don't laugh. I found out that a group of orchids is called what did they call it? I can't remember the word. I put it at the bottom of the stream if I remember, but look at all these orchids. There's so many wild orchids up here. Tons. Yes, annoyingly there's bracken, but a bracken can be dealt with, but there's, like, we'll walk around the Croft in a bit and you'll just see so many orchids. It's beautiful. We used to have a lot of the kind of dark purple ones too, but now it's kind of like, it's just these ones, but hey. So, we're standing on this section now. You see on the map, on the drone shot. So this bit here, this section here, it kind of thins and it gets thicker. If you see it on the map, starts off thin and it gets wider. So this section here is just going to be a nice little kind of windbreak, shelter belt, whatever you want to call it. So put loads of evergreens in here and have them kind of just basically because, for example, like these houses, I like these houses, but at the same time it's nice to have a bit of privacy to when you're up here doing what you're doing. So just have them here, because most of the prevailing winds are coming from over here. Like the wind's died down there, but you might be able to just hear it on the mic. We turn back around, yeah, you can hear that. And then so most of them, when they come from the north, it's kind of cold. So basically have loads of trees just in this section, and once it gets to kind of like, it starts to widen out, then stop and then have them splinter out and go all the way around the side. But my little plan is, I'm not going to limit myself to just having a windbreak, or not windbreak, sorry, like a food forest in just one section. What I plan to do is just have like, because I've got loads of currants down there. I've got gooseberry, Mrs. Love gooseberries, I've got black currants, all sorts, all those different types of plants, and just chuck them in, because I feel like sometimes when people plant trees up, you don't venture back to look at them and stuff like that. You feel like just let them do what they're doing, which they can do. I mean, you can leave them alone and stuff, but I quite like the thought of being able to kind of go around and mince around and see what's growing, what's not working, and what's working, what's doing great here, and just kind of work with it. So then I can go around and at the same time, pardon me, get like a nice kind of crop at the same, like, like pick some fruit, put some veg, and I'll be feeding the birds around here, the wildlife, and with the excess I can put it in the freezer. I can feed the birds and the ducks down there too. So it'd be like with all the trees I put in, every little area is going to have like almost like a mini kind of food forest within that section. So it's just like a nice big interweb of connecting trees, but with just food at the same time. Like some like nice dense woodland supermarket, if that makes sense. If that makes sense, so you're just walking around and you can graze, at the same time you can take cuttings, same time you can look out and potentially kind of get coppice and get some wood. I think it'd be very hard to do that here, but it's something that I'm thinking about, if you know what I mean. So if you don't, I mean, I'd like to try. At the end of the day, like it's good to try these things to see how they work and stuff. Like there's proof in the pudding over there that trees can grow. I've seen trees get big here. I've seen trees like 30 feet. So it's definitely doable. But you just need to slow the wind down and then you're good. So again, I say it's the windiest permaculture project on YouTube. So moving on. So I'm gonna have a line of trees all the way around the side here, all the way to stop the prevailing winds, like I've said, all the way around up to there. And then on this section, what I might do is have like a market garden style kind of like find the contours. I know the contours of down here, and then so I'm trying to avoid the wind. So I'm gonna turn to my right and talk, see if that helps. But and I have like I think the contours kind of go across like this. So have beds lined up like this to kind of almost like make mini swales, and just have like a nice array of bed and veg close to the house, because south is that way, so it's just going to be inundated with sun all the time. Or make like a fancy Mandela garden. An idea, there's many ideas, but I definitely want to have lots of veg in this section. Maybe make it wild. It doesn't have to be regimented, but it could be quite nice because the missus likes structure and order and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's how we work, because we're opposite. So moving on. So we got this section down here. These are the culverts. And you can see I've been digging around just a bit here, but it's a lot of water runoff. A lot of water runoff just runs off this place. And I know I've mentioned it before about having some Typha latifolia in here, or bulrush, or just in here so I can harvest it, because it's going to be like almost like a marginal plant. It will get a lot of water in come the autumn time. And I was thinking of blocking it up and then creating these kind of little dams. But that brings me to say this, check dams. Basically, I'm thinking like a beaver. The time I've had off, I've been working hard cutting seaweed, but at the same time I've been kind of understanding how beavers work and permaculture solutions and stuff like that, and just getting my head, just filling my brain with knowledge as you do. So what I was going to create with this section down here is put lots of kind of within every 6 feet, is put like a line of rock and create like a bed. Could be every 6 feet, could be 6 feet, could be 12 feet, and then keep going on that way to make these long beds. And within these beds, what I'm going to do is put lots of soil inside these beds, which should be great, and then kind of create like a nice little bed. So when the water comes down, it will fill up one bed and then spill over to the other bed and leak, and just kind of, it basically just be self-watering. And another thing I thought about to mention is, you see this piece of wood here? That gave me an idea. I'm sure you guys who are into permaculture have heard of hugelkultur. Hugelkultur is basically called mound culture. Is what you do. So I've been grabbing this. Look at my hand. I grabbed the thing too much. Got the red bits. Basically, I've got like a gorilla pod. Is you basically get lots of wood and you mound it up with soil, and then it almost looks like a Toblerone. Like you will look up on Google, you'll see lots of kind of Toblerone looking kind of things, and you put the wood in it, and then it's very good in like arid places where it's really dry, and obviously here is really wet. We'll talk about water in a bit, because I'm going to create like a swale / hugelkultur mound. In fact, stay tuned. If you're new here, consider subscribing for that. I'm making a swale, hugel mound, duck pond, irrigation pond, all in one space, and it's happening down there. I can't wait to do it. I just need to find the time. Cutting seaweed for the next 7 days, so it's going to be a busy one. But when I have the time, we'll sort that out. And we've got some baby ducklings on the way, like I said before. So anyways, so down here, there's wood in there. So I thought, oh, wicked. So what I need to do, because imagine when I do put these beds in, the water's just going to go shoo, straight down the hill, straight all the way down. And I don't want that. I want it to kind of stay here. I want to, because the plants would just dry out quick time. I don't want that. So you see me? Yeah, the plants would just dry out quick time. So Mum's killing me. So what I plan to do is add loads of wood in here. Put loads of soil in there, and you put the wood underneath. So what happens in time is that the wood will break down. The wood breaks down, and then what happens, it sequesters all the goodness and nutrients and a lot of the moisture that going across or running down the hill. So when you've got your plants in here, they'll be able to root down and then suck the water up that have been sequestered from this piece of wood. And you might be thinking, that's treated, I ain't going to use that wood because that might mess up the bed. But, and as you can see, there's not many trees around here for me to use. But that brings me to talk about these guys. Pallets. Good old pallets. You know I love pallets. You want to see about my pallet projects? Click top right. I've been busy with pallets. I love pallets. Free wood. I'm not going to say pallets again. I'll try not to anyway. Pallets. But anyway, so look. Heat treated. You see that HT? That means heat treated. That means it's only been used heat to make it treated. So you know, no chemicals or spray. Yeah, you might get the odd bit of spray paint, but that's life. That's not gonna kill me, if you know what I mean. Like, I drive a van, like I think that's even worse. So basically, so heat treated. So what I want to do is break these up, pop them up, break them up, and then line this whole section down here. And imagine them little beds, and with the water runoff, obviously I've got to kind of put plants that can be able to kind of have wet feet from time to time. So, and they'll be amazing. And then with all the water running, because I know a lot of the nutrients might get run off. I mostly put some biochar down here as well. But then there's something like, I need to stop my brain sometimes. If you might get carried away, I know some of you guys can relate about getting carried away, but I'll figure something out, because I'm going to have a pond further down there. There can be ponds everywhere, put it that way, but there'll be a pond down the bottom there, just to kind of, so it can collect all this kind of runoff and just be like the most like nutrient dense pond in the world, if you know what I mean. I say in the world, in newest. But hey, but that's basically the section for it. And there's another kind of culvert on this side, so I might do the same over there. I might just leave it on here, but it'd be amazing. Like, imagine like on the days when you're feeling really fit and you park down to the bottom of the hill, or just get some veg for dinner or some lettuce, and I'll be walking up the hill and just like collecting from all these little beds. Oh, there's some garlic. Oh, there's some chives. Oh, there's some radish. All these different things that I could potentially put in here. Like, it'd be amazing. So I feel like I should utilize this space instead of just having it just as like a culvert and just like some big empty void. It looks like flipping World War I, if you know what I mean. But let's talk about the material underneath here, which is called moraine. So moraine, let's talk about moraine, which is basically this is all underneath. And this saved us a ton of money, this stuff here, because you think US is just full of peat, but we're on a hillside right here now, people, and down there is laden with peat. All the way down there is like a big bit of peat, but you can see I've been kind of scratching away, because look at this stuff. It's like silt, it's like sand, it's beautiful. Like, it's amazing. This will amend any bed up here. Like, I can definitely dig some more of this up. Smell it. Oh, I say smell it, I'm smelling it. It's just like, basically it's good stuff. So it's like I said, it saved us a lot of money, so we didn't have to bring any more materials. But let me just show you with that kind of, give you a little geography lesson here. So look at this. Not deep at all, is it? That's about a good 2 foot. About 2 foot, just over 2 foot of peat. It's kind of mad to think like all these things. It would have been a struggle for a tree to grow. I'm sure they could like dig deep into this, but yeah, it'd have definitely been a struggle. So I'm going to put trees in this section, but we'll talk about this section in a second. But yeah, lots of moraine. And this, like I said, this stuff is good for like kind of foundations. Well, you know what I mean? Like kind of foundations of a brick wall or a drive, for example, like this. But yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Peat. This goes to show I'm expecting it to be amazing. Imagine there was like a dinosaur in there, like bones or anything. And peat's very good at preserving. Very good at preserving. Like, people used to put like a lot of stuff in peat bogs, which makes me want to talk about my other ideas. So I was looking into kind of other stuff on YouTube, and I was thinking, we're gonna have a lot of veg. Like, we've got 10 acres up here, and like I said about having veg all over the place and all these kind of things, and that's what made me think. I was like, how are we gonna store it? We need to have like a load of fridges, but then like having loads of fridges is like gonna have loads of like electricity, and like I'm gonna need another shed. And my brain was just drifting off, and I'm waffling here. But then I thought about, what about a root cellar? And then I looked over here, and I was like, and I thought to myself, look, this is bigger than me. I say it's taller than me. And imagine this. Look, let me just stand back so you can understand. So look, you can see how high it is the house. It's like almost halfway up the house, this wall here. So what I was thinking of doing is, quickly, see where that container is? We're thinking of having a polytunnel or polycrub. Polycrub is basically a reinforced kind of polytunnel, and having it kind of come down here. So there's going to be excess veg. Annoyingly, this is going to be underneath, so we're going to have some raised beds, or I can dig down some of the moraine and add in some of my kind of good chicken compost, and then raise the beds up, so it'll be like some deep beds. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But imagine within here is digging out a nice space. You know what a root cellar is? It's basically, before they had fridges, this is how they used to store their veg, in a nice cool place away from sunlight. And dig into this, because this is just moraine. I can understand why a lot of the US folk wouldn't have done it back in the day, because a lot of the places were peat, and if I were to dig into peat and then try and build a kind of a root cellar, it would just be moist and damp and just disgusting all the time. I'm sure that a lot of the food would go mouldy. What they used to do is preserve it and put it into peat bogs, like I just said. But with this moraine, it's like structural. It's almost like rigid. It will kind of form. If you kind of compact it, it will stay in that shape. It won't move. It's just like, it's like digging into rock almost. So my idea is to kind of dig into here and then like offset from the kind of the polycrub, which is going to be on this side. So with the excess kind of food that comes from there, I'd have like a root cellar just in here and be able to store a lot of the food and stuff like that without having to have just fridges all over the place and just extra freezers and stuff, which is great. But you know, have electricity, we've spoken that before in other vlogs, it's just like, it's getting expensive. God knows if it's going to go up or down. It's just a bit bonkers right now. So that is my plan for this section. Also as well, this is a little far-fetched idea, but my idea is you see this section here? Again, a lot of moraine on behind me just here. But what I was thinking of doing, we've all seen Lord of the Rings in it. So instead of like, up there would be the root cellar, but then in this section, just in here, imagine that. Imagine having like a little Hobbit house, like dug right in, like having nice, like maybe like 2 or 3, like one Hobbit house over there, maybe another Hobbit house here. Obviously I need a shite ton of money for all this kind of stuff, but it's nice to dream, innit? It's nice to dream. Let me spoil my dreams here. But yeah, to have like another kind of Hobbit house going into that way, and then having like a potentially like a little driveway, or you have to park down there so you have to walk up to your Hobbit house. That'd be amazing, isn't it? You can see obviously his name Frodo running up and down here, and Gollum like twerking and stuff. Just imagine, that'd be great, wouldn't it? So that's a little idea for there, but it's a bit far-fetched. But whilst we're talking about this section, might as well go up there. So we're just here. If you look on the VT, we're just in this section right above the Croft. We're still so high up. It's lovely, this view, isn't it? I feel like a king of the castle. Like, this is so zombie proof. Zombies, we've seen them for miles, surrounded by water. They can't touch me. But bog cotton, if you got bog cotton, your ground is boggy. That's all of our plants to tell you what's what. If you got heather, it means you're acidic, very acidic, a bit like Rhodos would do love it. We'll love it here. So lots and lots of bog cotton here, but the plan is, as much as these bog cotton are doing really well here, is to have lots of trees, because we're quite high up. If we go over here, you'll see, sorry for the wind again, I'm trying to get away from it, it's kind of hard. And this, I'm actually figure out the name of this little yellow flower by the time I get back, but it's beautiful, isn't it? Really nice, I like it. There's loads of them down the bottom there, really, really pretty flower. And look how bog it is here. Like, it's been so kind of, yeah, it's been wet this summer. This summer's a bit rubbish, if I'm honest. Like I'm still wrapped up, I'm wearing thermals for God's sake. But that's a nice place, nice little habitat. I will keep these ponds. I might even kind of exaggerate these ponds. I make them a lot bigger when the time's right, as well as having lots of trees around the place. But let me just stand over here so you can see what I'm talking about. So we're here, we're just past the future poly crub, next to the house just here. And you can see we're just like the same level right here. So we're quite high up. So it'd be great to have some trees over here to protect us from like easterlies, which we rarely get. Easterlies, northeasterlies, and southeasterlies. Southeasterlies are the worst wind from here. Southwest, like I said, prevailing, but southeast comes off Avale just here. Katabatic comes down, bang. So what we're going to do, you see that big rock just there, sticking out just down there, is just have a line of trees come round and maybe just come up just in front here, because we don't want to hinder the view from the house to Avale, because that's the reason why we put it here. And I remember saying in one vlog that we're going to arch it towards that way, towards the sun a bit more, but instead we've arched it this way towards Avale, so we can appreciate the beauty of her, because she looks fabulous right now. She's kind of covered in clouds, but she still looks the part. So loads of trees up here, again, future food forest, like nice little bits of habitat. And what I would do is kind of dig out, kind of find some little micro ponds and kind of, like I said, exaggerate the ponds that are here already, because look, there's a bit of rush. But you know, it's moist as well. That rush is there. Juncus inflexus, another sign of moisture. And wild marigolds. They're not, they're orchids. These orchids here, loads of them again. But yeah, lots and lots of trees in this section, because yeah, I could utilize it and do a little bit more. But again, look at this. Look at that. It's like a little pond, isn't it? Sure, there's life in there. So there's frogs. We do get frogs here. They're not native to here, but we do have lots of frogs. Come like autumn time or early autumn, you just be walking around and just seeing frogs just bounce all over the place. So I could always exaggerate this, make it a bit deeper so it stays there. So it basically like be self-watering the plants, because this is like, you can feel the bogginess. You won't be able to hear that, but it's definitely boggy. So that's the plan for this section. Nice and simple. Lots of trees, food forest. So we're at the back of the house, and we tried to get the same colour similar to lichen, and same with the yellow lichen. More in a bit darker or yellow, but at the same time it works. It still looks the part. Everyone's like loving the colour. I like the contrast too. It looks vibrant. It looks lovely from a distance. It almost, this honestly, from afar, this house blends in. It's just perfect in the landscape. So this will be the back door just here coming out of the house. And we bang my head. Please excuse the wind again. I'm sorry, but we come out here, tip, 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 and we turn around, and this is what we want to see. That's the view right there. And that's why I was saying about limiting the amount of trees that we have on the side here, because it's cedar really. His room is here, so he will kind of have one of the best views of Avale. Cheeky sod. So we'll kind of, I might not put plants or trees in this section. I might just put trees up here and then put like I don't know, maybe some gorse or something, just vibrant across the edge here, and have fun with this, because like I said, we're just going to play with what the builders have kind of messed up, if that makes sense. But this section in here, between that little rock there and then these rocks up there, where I was saying they can have trees across the top, is just leave it as it is, leave it wild, leave it as it is, like leave it how nature intended it to be. Hopefully more orchids can kind of take over the place, and this little yellow flower, I'm not sure what it is yet, but then that's what we're going to leave this to be. And then what I would do here is kind of have fun with it, because I've said it before, but if you're new here, I'm a gardener, and I love I'm a plantsman. I like kind of having fancy plants, ornamentals, I love a bit of topiary, and that's what I'm going to try and work my magic with. So, but again, I need the windbreaks. This is why I haven't planted anything yet, because I've been patient. It's very hard not to do things I want to do, but I'm holding back. So I'm getting the windbreaks in place, so then I can start planting up and having fun with all this land that we have here. So that's the plan for this section. We turn you around. So that's the plan for this section. So I said the polytunnel is going to go down there. I don't know, I'm telling you this, but the washing line, I can't stand washing lines, me. I don't mind using them, but when they're in the way, this is annoying. You know, going in the garden just to appreciate the plants and stuff, and you're just having to duck all the time, and there's like clothes flapping in your face. You're just like, get the away from me. Like I remember I had one garden I had. Let me stand around here and get out of the wind. I remember one garden I had, and this old couple, and they're about what 5'5" each, I think, with them, and they had like a washing line. It was a long, narrow garden, and there's this long washing line down the end. I was just like Rocky, like, but the whole time just bending down, like trying to do this garden, and like at the end your core just feels like rock. It's good workout, but I'm done with it. So what I'm going to do around here is have the washing line so out of the way, so it's not, it can flap between the gaps. So imagine there's a polytunnel here, and there's going to be a washing line, so it'll be able to, like, all the clothes will just dry in seconds. You like my impression of clothes in the wind. So let's go over here, back to the wind again. So that's their toilet, if you're wondering what this is. Like, they've plumbed in already, which is lovely. This is like the best kind of loo I've seen at a building site ever. Sod portaloos. And now, like, that goes to show how windy it gets here, people. Is that they've got rocks to weigh it down over the top that don't flip and blow away. But it's a nice little space. So over this side, and you see this whole long line there, that's where the electric came in, so we had to kind of get it from next door neighbours. Thank you, next door neighbours, for that. So here is more of the kind of, I think I will follow the trees around a bit more, but I don't want to hinder the view, because remember we can still see it from up there. But what I will do, sorry for the turny around, is carry on the trees. Remember, we're in this section over there, come round still and meander in and come right down. But we'll talk more about this little section down here right now. We're still at the highest points of the Croft. It's quite nice. We're like kind of right at the top where the house just sits, like kind of high there, and then the house, and it's kind of high here as well, and it just like levels down. So what I'm going to do is have loads of trees on the edge here, because what happens when wind blows, say for example these were the trees initially, the wind will hit the trees and go like over the top. So imagine the trees being as tall as like me, so to speak. It will go over the house when we do get the prevailing winds, and it shouldn't hinder the view too much, because we're raised a little bit. So that's why I wouldn't mind having the trees like further down, because this is quite a big drop. You can't really tell on the camera right now, but look, it's quite steep. That's a good, what, from here to the grass, that's a good, what, 4 or 5 meters away from me, believe it or not. Doesn't look that much on camera, but yeah, it's quite far up. So imagine I have a nice dense thicket of trees all the way around, and in this section will be my garden. This is going to be our garden, not just my garden, but I'm going to work my magic in it. So got some ideas, surrounded by trees around this side, so I can be able to kind of have fun with it in front of the toilet around here, and have like a nice little strip of path like meandering in, almost like, and then having loads of little deep beds, so be able to kind of utilize the space in the middle. This is my first idea. I might have to change it by then, but it'd be nice to be able to sit out here and appreciate and get lots of sun on you, and then just kind of just be immersed around this kind of lovely little kind of oasis of space. So that is my plan for here. So if you want to see that, stick around, man, because honestly, I'm having fun. Obviously there's loads of rocks in the way I might have to deal with, but I might invest in a little bobcat, one of them. I might get one of them to kind of make life a lot easier, because there's so many big rocks in here. Like, I've been trying to dig some out, and they're just rock hard, and it will just save so much time, especially like tidying up some of the old fences. So, but let me explain what I'm going to do down this section, because we're going to have sheep one day. So this Croft, again, I'm not sure if I said it before, but it's about 10 acres. So remember I was saying about this section here, this little bit coming from the house, is that we're going to leave it wild and as it is. So it's going to cut off, it's going to go straight up. You can see the little kind of the bottom of the not cliff, but the hill right there. So it's going to go straight, we're going to go straight up with some fencing, straight across like that, just to kind of leave this bit wild and leave it as it is. But then this whole section down here, we're going to section off in different sections. So we're going to measure out how big this is and then kind of cordon it off. Like maybe potentially like 3 or 4 sections. So like 1 down there, 2, 3, and then 4, and then potentially another one over that side. So then we have some sheep. And then we're going to have the sheep kind of hut stationary just over there, because it's a nice little section. It's kind of bunkered down, probably hidden away, so we don't really see it we can see it from the house, but it's not going to be like, oh, it's an eyesore. But it's a nice way for us to be able to see the sheep and see how they're doing, and then have like a section so they can actually, when each section they can head back to this hut and like water and stuff, so they can graze this, move them on 1 week. I don't really know how many sheep I want to have, but obviously it's different in different places, but this place is going to be dedicated to sheep for them to graze. And funny enough, down the bottom there, should we go down the bottom? Let's go down the bottom. But you can see as I'm walking, the amount of like kind of wild orchids there are. There's so many orchids. It's mad, isn't it? And I feel bad because I know sheep eat orchid. So can you dig them up? I might try and dig them up, see if I can move them, because yeah, I'd hate for the sheep just to kind of destroy this lovely bit of land that we've got right here. But we're gonna have sheep, we're trying to be sustainable, so I've said it. It's really boggy here, look at this. Splish splash, how plants tell you what your ground's like. So remember I was saying how juncus is a sign of kind of lots of moisture and bog cotton. But look, it's weird. It's like they must have had like some like drainage ditch all the way down here, like leading off towards this little lock, because you can see the juncus have just like taken over this little section all the way up, all the way down here. It's kind of noticeable, and down this section. So it's almost like something I can work with. And it's really, honestly, it's really muddy, like really squelchy down here. Like it's gonna be funny for sheep, but they should have fun. They're used to it. So yeah, it's all the way down here. And there's lots and lots of moss, and it meanders and goes all the way down here. But let me show you what I was talking about. Again, more orchids, lots and lots of orchids. But look, this lock is called Loch Ogul, and me and Cedar, we didn't remember the name, so what we called it is Loch Ollibob. So it's Loch Ollibob to us. It's almost like a private loch. And this loch is not very deep. And a sign of freshwater loch is if you see lily pads. Lily pads don't like salty water, so that's a sign of it's not brackish, it's not salty loch, it's just freshwater loch. So it's a lovely sign there. The lily pads are doing great. And what was I saying? That's it. Here, look, there's a gate. You see the gate there? That's common grazing. So that's the way people put their sheep out. There must be sheep over there at the moment, dicking them out, living the best life, nibbling and venturing, looking after themselves. It's mad how they treat sheep here. It's not like the mainland, they just do what they want. So, and over here, my man, I'm not going to say his name, but he's a fellow crofter, and he's a friend, and he's got he's got sheep over here that he kind of rents this land here, and he lets them through here. So we're going to build a fence across here, like maybe let's say from that stub. In fact, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's a bit all undulating here, but just say from that stub all the way across, straight over to that side, and then just leave this bit wild. Just leave this bit as another patch just to rewild, and leave all the kind of the heather and the wild orchids to kind of do what they're doing, and the bog cotton and so on. So, and then leave this section, but then have a gate obviously so we can get through. And then the missus, because she loves doing wild swimming, what we're gonna do is she's gonna have like a little piece, like, I don't know, like a dock. Is that a dock? Is that what I'm trying to say? Not a jetty, a yeti. She's gonna have a yeti. She's gonna have a little jetty, little thing, so she can jump out, have a little splish splash, and have a swim, and invite her friends around, and they can have fun there. And we can utilise that space, get some paddle boards. Me and Cedar can have a whale of a time. Maybe get a little boat on there or something. But then this side, I've got some ideas for it. Not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with it, but I will. Sorry, I thought I spun you around. But yeah, this bit here, this pond, this loch, it's basically essentially a big pond, man. And it's kind of mad to think, look how far mussels have gotten. There's an ant on there. Look, I haven't seen an ant in WINDIEST like ever. I have done, I'm lying, but you rarely see ants in WINDIEST. Look at that. That's mad, isn't it? Well, there you go, an ant in WINDIEST. They exist. I'm sure they're under this. Like, imagine the rocks, imagine the ants underneath them. I'm sure there's like a massive network. But yeah, it's a lovely patch, and the sheep should enjoy it. So obviously they're not going to be able to get to here because the deer will come in. But this section for the sheep, so you can imagine it. It's nice to kind of get a kind of a gist when you're standing. It's easy to kind of make out from this side. So sheep over there, sheep, and they're going to have like loads of section. So it's going to be a fun patch. Also, I forgot to mention about the sheep before we kind of finish the vid. So you can see here, I was saying it's about a good how many feet from the top, or meters from the top. I can hardly see the house, just goes to show how high this little section is. So imagine loads of trees planted in this, it will look amazing. Plus, I'm gonna have them so the sheep can, in different, because this would be part of the different sections, when the trees hang over, the sheep will be able to nibble and graze on this in different sections. So in time, the trees should be able to grow back with the sheep moving in a different place. I never had sheep before, that is a pigeon. You rarely see pigeons. You see more raptors than pigeons up here, it's kind of mad. But anyways, moving back, but it's kind of, I've never seen, I don't think sheep moonscape the place. So what I'm trying to say is that this is nice kind of rough grazing. This is not the best. This is like, sheep we can make do, but I know they could do better. There's other crofts up here, like for example, if you look at this on the map, it looks like totally different to that side. Like, yeah, it's green, but it's not as green as over there. Like, the greener it is, the better. If you see over there, that patch, that piece of field there, and like I said, you'll see on this little VT here. So, but it's a work in progress, and it takes a lot of improving. So I think what might needs to be done is this place needs to be mown and kind of just like get back the vigor. I'm not going to scarify or anything like that. I thought about having chickens up here, having them moonscape different sections, but that's a bit much, because then I can plant it up with the plants that can have another sheep could graze on and come back and you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. But I think I might just utilise that down here. So for example, in the summertime, I know this will grow back thick and fast. So I feel like just leave it as it is. And then for this section down here, which I'll point out just now, but just check out this rock though. I'm not a rock fan. I mean, I don't mind rocks. I mean, I spend a lot of time on rocks with my seaweed cutting. But you know, this must have been massive. It's like an iceberg underneath, and it's huge, beastly. But right at the edge of the croft now, so you can see and make out what I'm talking about just now. I'm just standing on this rock so I get a bit more height. But I'm going to put a fence line from that bit where it's been moonscaped straight across, all the way across here, because I don't want the sheep to be going down here. Then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with this bracken, because it can be a bit of a thug. I think I might weaken it, but we'll talk about that because there's lots of it here. The croft goes up to that bit there. Sorry for the wind. I turn my back again. The croft goes all the way to the edge of that when the bracken is down here, and all the way across, all the way to that side, over to where that container, where that red car is just now. So that's basically what's happening. I'm not sure who that is, but I'm waving. I think they know me. I think I know them, I don't know. But anyways, but moving. But this section, yeah, so I've got a lot of bracken to deal with over here. Funny enough, this section here, there's like a quarter an acre just in there. I don't own that bit. I don't own this section. Someone that's been sold separately. It's been decrofted. Don't know what the people are doing with it. So I just tapped them, might just see it was there. I don't know what they're doing with it, but I haven't yet to meet them yet. But one day we might meet. But until then, if you see this, you're my neighbour. So with all this bracken here, I thought about having pigs. But I'm umming and ahhing about it. I know they can deal with the bracken, but again, it's like, yes, they can deal with the bracken, but they still need fed. So I know there's a way of getting rid of bracken, slowing it down and stuff. So I might do the long way, but we'll just have to wait and see. But the reason why I'm kind of explaining about the sheep here is that as much as it's nice that the sheep can have all this section up here, it'd be amazing for them to have this section. You can have maybe 6-7 patches of different places to graze up there. It'd be amazing. But then down here is potentially have like, what do you call it? Them just because I was going to have pigs in here rotating and stuff, but I thought why not have the sheep in here to rotate too, because it means like, it basically means like I could have like designated patches of like kind of lovely green, which I know the sheep can kind of graze from time to time. Like for example, I'm not even sure what sheep eat. That's how much I know about sheep. I don't know. I know they can shear them once a year or twice. I think it's once a year you shear them, and it's going to get a bit too hot, and they bleat. That's about it. And they lay lambs in around Springtown or whatever we want to make with them. So that's all I know about sheep. But I feel like as much as I can grow stuff with the chickens in their different areas, which I'm going to create, I feel like I can do the same thing with the sheep. Does that make sense? So just have them dotted about and doing what they're doing and stuff. And yeah, I just feel like growing stuff for them will be more beneficial than just having this rough grass just here. Because as much as they can get nutritional value from it, which is amazing, I feel like a nice little boost, especially come winter time. Give more reason to dig more root cellars, if you know what I mean. Maybe grow, I know sugar beet they like, because I follow someone, she's kind of got loads of sheep. I'm going to mention her name, but we'll visit her one day so we can talk about her sheep and stuff. But yeah, back to here. So yeah, sheep will be down here, because I think I'll have a male or a couple of males as well. So instead of having the females behind me, then the males can just be like rotated in there. So like 3 different sections in here. That's going to be dedicated to ducks and dedicated to the chickens. So we can talk more about, like, get a more drone shot. We could do a bit of thorough kind of a vlog about down here. But instead, pardon me, but that's enough about outside. let's go in there, innit? A bit dark, innit? There we go. So that's a wrap. That is a wrap, guys. So we're inside the house now. I will give you a house tour, but if you're new here, I'm going to be part of a documentary, which is going to be on the BBC Scotland, and it's coming out in October, and October the 25th. So have a look for that. It's a little vlog here. It's going to How to Frolic. It's basically me just talking about it quickly, and you get to see how I frolic up in the Hebrides. So it kind of, as much as I want to show you the inside of the house, it doesn't make sense to me. They want me to hold back on showing the world the house yet. So instead, if there's going to be a season 2, which I hope there will be, because it'd be quite fun, because they know what's to be happening. It's kind of like when they first started filming, it was kind of closed because COVID. So now it's all open. There's like ceilidhs, there's like markets, there's all sorts. There's so many potential things we could do to film, and especially seeing this finished and done and dusted. So I got to wrap up here. So I know it's annoying, but I will say, you see up there in the eaves, you see them? That big piece of like metal up there? We've got swallows, they moved in, because I was walking around here and I was thinking, why is there so much poo on the floor? And then I realised I thought someone was roosting, but then as I stood around here, I showed someone else the house, and the swallows were flying around doing all acrobatics, and I was like, oh, they've nested! So they've come all the way from Africa, come here, but the sad thing is, they always want to come back here again. So what I'm going to try and do is maybe put up a little house, because they're going to try and fly through the window again. It's going to be like, pong! So I might just have to put like, because my budgie used to do it. You ever see a bird fly into a window? It's awful. But yeah, the budgies don't really get to fly that fast in the house, so he was all right. Bit of a hard head, Tweak had. He is a lovely bird, Tweak. Rest in peace, mate. So we've got squatters, and it's quite nice. It's quite sweet. They're making home and making the most of it. But I'll give an in-depth tour. Once they give me the nod, you guys will be the first person I show off this place to. So, but anyways, peace and hugs for you guys. And if you're new here, consider subscribing to see how things all develop. Like we're gonna have a root cellar. We're gonna have sheep on rotational agriculture down there with the sheep. We're gonna have same with the ducks, the same with the chickens. We're gonna have maybe some Hobbit houses. We're gonna have a permaculture paradise. There's gonna be like interlocking food forest all over the place. Swales. There's gonna be ponds. There's gonna be so many ponds up here. We're like flipping water world, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna grow. People might even develop gills down up in this road here. You know what I mean? I'm getting excited. So let me calm down. So peace and hugs from me. And remember, it's not just my agenda. It's not just my agenda. It's yours too. And I hope to see you soon. Peace, people. Peace.